Okay.
Hi, hello there.
How are
I'm
you?
good. How are you? I
I'm
am
great.
with lovely Dawn Stagg here. You are in Missouri, right?
Yes, I'm near Joplin, Missouri.
Joplin. Okay. It is 11:15 a.m. on March 30th. This probably won't go out till end of May because of the whole Operation Hug, but wanted to what's the weather like up there?
It's rainy. I had to put on my overhead because I don't have a special light, because there's just no sunshine today.
Oh, today
Mm.
Indiana is bipolar. So yesterday it was like 30 degrees and today it's 68.
Oh, we had 72 yesterday, actually 74.
Yeah. Indiana, I love it. I say, well, you never get bored in Indiana. I
Give
think
it
that's
some
most
time.
of us in the Midwest.
I think you're right.
Oh, Dawn Stagg, and how did you get started with gliders?
In the worst way possible. We There's a story with it, but basically we got our very first glider on impulse at a county fair in Odessa, Texas. We were working there, and I didn't even know what a sugar glider was until I walked past the booth, and it was that's a long. It was actually on September 5th of 2014.
Oh,
And
wow.
the reason I know that is one of my husband's son, that's his birthday.
Oh,
But anyway, so hubby through the years has always wanted a little critter.
oh.
Okay. Not a dog or a cat, but a critter. And he stopped we were driving through a park in Tucson, and a little chipmunk ran across the road, and he threw the car in park and opened the door and started to take off after it. And I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, I think he'd make a cute pet." And I said, "No, he won't." I said, "No." So then the conversation started up with, gee, I don't want a dog. I don't want to have to walk it, when we're traveling. Don't do cats. He said, I just want something little. And I kind of blew it off because I'm thinking hamster or rat. And, their lifespan's only 4 years or so, 6 years, sometimes if they make it that long. But anyway, and we both get attached. And sorry about the coughing. I'm recovering from a cold and he's got my cold. So sitting over there. But anyway, so when we walked past this booth, I stopped and, there's a crowd and everybody's all gaga over him. And it was not a Pocket Pets booth. And so we stopped, we were curious. I made my way through the crowd because, like I said, he wanted a critter. And, he said all the right things, let me hold her. And she was 13. So, she came right to me when he offered her to me. And then everybody petted her around me and she just sat on my arm. And then she wanted down, and he had a paper tablecloth, and she hopped right down, went potty, and went right to him, and he handed her back to me. And I thought, what a perfect pet.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
Yeah,
that's
they
kind
know
of
how
how
to
we got.
sell them, don't they?
Oh yeah. So when we got her, that I didn't have a smartphone at the time. I couldn't Google it really fast, and check up on her, which is what I would have done today. But anyway, we took this little thing that I never got to see. He just stuck her in a bonding pouch and handed her to me. And she crabbed all the way to the truck, cage in hand that they gave us. And $450 later, we were a single sugar glider owner. So they did give me a bag of the Masery kibble and told me I could feed her applesauce. But I thought, So then I started my research, and the information on the internet was horrible. I didn't think to turn to Facebook right away. I actually looked up some dates, and I didn't really get on Facebook until 2017. I was going through a forum, Glider Central, and I was panicky. And of course, they tell you do your research. You don't really. They kind of poo-pooed. Everybody does. You didn't do your research first. It was an impulse buy. What do you think you're doing? They didn't say that to me, but that's how I felt. Your own guilt. So anyway, I did a lot of reading. I asked questions, and everybody was real helpful. And then I eventually became a moderator, and I'm still a moderator on GC. It's really slow because everybody goes to Facebook, because you can get instant answers, regardless to if it's a good answer or whatever, right away. But anyway, the archives are still there. Glider Central's still online, and we are not really active, but we do keep track of it, and we do answer the people who don't get on Facebook.
That's wonderful. That is a nice story. It's nice to hear that you saw that maybe it wasn't gospel and that you should do your own research. So that's definitely inspiring. I think that this is going to be really good for people, because I think what happens is people get out there and then they get frustrated. So it's nice to hear that they're not alone. I like that. I like that. So gosh, you've been doing it quite a while, 2014. So how quick did you learn that you needed a second glider?
Pretty much just by scouring the internet. We were due to go home in a week or two, to go back home from Odessa. And so we spent that time with her. We worked nights and slept days. So, our schedule was kind of her schedule. And I made her some toys pretty quick with what I had in the camper. We travel with a fifth wheel. And, because there's resources. Even Glider Central was a good resource and I did ask, gee, what can I make this little beast? I didn't get a wheel. I didn't get a heat rock that Pocket Pets talked about. And, the more research I did on that, that was a bad idea. So I bought the BML diet. I went to a local pet store, and she had a lot of people from the fair that bought sugar gliders come to her. So she was my first kind of source. And they had sugar gliders for sale, but something told me not to buy one. And so I didn't, I was scared enough with her. My first glider's name was Fiona, and she seemed so little and frail. We bonded within 2 weeks. But I got her on the BML diet, and when we got home, I started looking for a friend. And I found her one, and she was about the same age. And I kind of kept this, my journal on this is all posted on Glider Central everywhere. But so I can go back and possibly write a book on this someday, because it's been quite an experience. But anyway, I joined GC shortly around the time that we got Dot, and they were able to help me out a lot. But
Dot. I love that. That's a cute name. Dot.
It's from Animaniacs. Do you remember the cartoon Animaniacs?
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
I had a lot of years I didn't get to watch TV. So
I
I missed
bet.
a lot of things in life. The people will reference, I'll be like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I spent 3 years of my life in Germany, and I kind of lost track of things myself during those 3 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think there was a good 10 years. I barely even turned the TV on. I
well, good
know.
for you. You got to
Well,
see the
it wasn't
instead.
necessarily choice. It was just first the right way I was raised. And then I went right from being a teenager to being a mom. So
Me
yeah.
too.
And when you're a mom, you're just like, okay, well, this happens. So when you were learning, you were like writing on Glider Central because you wanted to help people. And
Right.
so how did you get connected with the Sugar Glider Guardians?
Well, I had to look up when I joined, which would have been around the time of OSGA. And
Nice.
so I probably joined shortly before that. One of the admins on GC, her name on GC is Feather. It's Kimberly Tatter.
Mm-hmm.
She and I kind of hooked up at OSGA, and I had messaged her because I had like I had one of those panic attacks, where this isn't normal. I'm not seeing something normal. And she was like, yeah, you're okay. Everything's fine. She talked me through it. So she recommended me to join some Facebook groups. And there's some really good ones out there. And Glider Guardians is one of them. And then there's some that are, I won't say bad because they all have great information. I just don't click with them very well. And I smile and say,
oh, sorry about that.
it's okay. I was like getting on here because I had a mentee contact me, and I told her I'd get back with her after this.
Oh, geez.
Okay.
Okay, I gotta silence that. That was aggressive. That was very aggressive.
One of the things that Karen, who is now the owner of Glider Central, and she brought me on as a moderator because I could, and that was after being on there for about 2.5 years. When I talked to other new sugar glider owners, I could remember what it was like to be new. And she liked that in me. So almost 8 years, I'm still trying to remember what it's like to be new. And when I was paying attention to Glider Guardians, and I saw that they were not handing out, that sounds awful, doing the mentors thing, it was like, oh man, I wish they had those when I was new. So I contacted Sandra Whitaker, and all I wanted to know, I wanted to know questions, what does it take to be a mentor? What kind of, what is it all about? And I messaged this to her, and 10 minutes later, she messaged me back and said, you've been accepted as a mentor. And I'm like, somebody knows me. So I'm guessing that
on the inside.
know about. My name is Lady MacGyver on Glider Central. Oh. And if they put the two together, they might have already known what I was doing.
Yeah. Awesome.
And I learned from being a moderator on Glider Central, it really set me up for Guardians.
Yeah.
Because I may have an opinion about something, or I might get upset over something I read, but there is a way to manage that and be adult about it. And so that's the only thing I could think of is how they knew how I was how I responded to other people.
Right. And that's very, very possible. So then you became a mentor, and you've been doing that for approximately how long?
2 years.
2 years. Yay.
February.
What would you say your specialty is? I'm sure it's based on what you've been through, but I'm sure everybody has what they would call a specialty. Uh-oh, you froze. You're frozen. Wait a second, see if you come back. Okay, we'll pause this. We're back. We had a little bit of internet issues, so which seems to be the theme with me especially. So I appreciate you being here and taking time, and we are back. So we had talked about that you've been doing this for about 2 years, and I asked you what you thought your specialty was.
I'm one-on-one human to glider bonding, glider to glider bonding. I'm still learning, but it's because I've learned the hard way. Every glider is just a little different. Diet. I know what I feed, and when my biggest concern is making sure that no matter what diet a mentee or anyone goes with, that they do their research and they get on a good diet. So the particular diet that I feed, some people love it, some people don't like it. It's not that restrictive. There are things you can do with it. I'm on the Critter Love diet. And so, you know, they have recipes for the salads and stuff like that. And I've learned through Peggy, there are certain vegetables that aren't available all year round, and there are substitutions for them. But anyway, I try to help. I can help with most of the diets. The one that I struggle with is probably the TPG diet, and it's just because I've never fed it. So I have to ask somebody else about that if I can't read up on it and find out for myself. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So those are great specialties. Those are, I think, when people start, I think that's what people want to know most of. So I mean,
and I also make toys, and I can help them with that.
You make toys. Okay, so you make toys, and do you sell them?
I haven't for a couple of years, only because I have all the toy making stuff. I just haven't for a couple of years. I've had a lot going on in my life, and I lost my first glider, so my spark or color has kind of faded a little bit. My enthusiasm for helping others hasn't faded. We think she might have been having diabetic issues, and we didn't know it, and my vet had not ever encountered that. I kind of learned that after the fact. Hubby didn't want a necropsy done, but with what findings we found towards the end, she was sick, I think 24 hours, and she was gone. No, not much warning. So I've learned to listen to my gliders a lot closer since she passed.
I love that. Listen to your gliders. That touches my heart. You talking about losing your glider, I think it surprises me, and I don't know if you obviously feel this way, how deep you can love your first one.
Yeah.
And it might be
Well,
for other people different ones, but my first one was the same way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she was pretty special, and she was always frail. And after she passed, and because we didn't get a necropsy, I started digging in and digging. And they did a pH test on a cloaca, and those were hard days to remember back to. But her, I guess if they can do a pH test and find out, if her kidneys are working or not, and they were shutting down. And but anyway, she's always been a little on the frail side, and I've had her to several different glider vets, because with big traveling, I find a glider vet in my area before they get sick, okay? And in the area we're at. So I've always asked, and they all say the same thing. Well, when she's tired, she just stops playing. And I was like, okay. But yeah, I have never really run across any glider that has had her exact same symptoms. But yeah, she would, I'd call her Little Turbo, but Little Turbo would only last about 5 minutes. She'd run around and play like she was just half nuts, and then she'd stop and go into a torpor. Not a seizure, she'd just stop. And she'd be that way for like 20 minutes. And then she'd go eat something, get a drink, and start playing again. But anyway.
Aw, and they're also different. I just love them to pieces.
Yeah,
So
the others were never.
What?
I said my other gliders never acted like that.
Yeah. So if you had to give one piece of advice to glider slaves, what would you say?
Newbies or slaves that are already working on it?
Any of them.
I guess I'll repeat what I said earlier. Learn to listen to your gliders.
Yeah.
Learn to understand the difference. I have found 4 different barks in mine. Their squeaks, their little sh, and then their squeak. Those are different.
Yeah.
My little girl has a come hither. I can hear from another room when she goes in heat, and she wants her neutered man to come be with her, and he will jump and just dive and go right to her. And then they have feelings. She'll get her feelings hurt, and she'll kind of, I've seen her do it. Stewie, my boy, he does it as well. If I scold him for, picking on or playing too hard or making Gracie squeak too much, I'll say, hey, buddy, I said, back off a little bit. He'll run to a corner and put his butt towards me and stick his nose in the corner. So listen to your gliders. They're talking to you. You just aren't understanding exactly what they're having to say.
Right.
With the passing of Fiona, we look back and saw she was in her own way, she was giving us little hints, but we didn't understand.
Right. Well, let me do the rapid fire. So what would you say? I'm just looking here. What would the title of your autobiography be?
That's going to sound awful. My world's always been chaotic. Well, I suppose my autobiography would be A Collection of Chaos by Dawn Stagg.
I love it. A collection of chaos. Oh my goodness. So when you write your book, I want to read it. Collection of chaos.
I'll even
glider section. You can have
quilting, crafting.
Yeah, I love it. So if you had to
Fictional.
choose a fictional family, which one would you choose to be a member of?
Oh, that's a good one. Fiction family.
Yeah.
Question is would they take me? I don't know. I'm a Star Trek fiend, so that's where my brain keeps going. I don't know if
There
we can
you
have
go.
I don't know if we can have sugar gliders in space someday, but you never know.
You just never know. You can have people, you can have gliders.
There you go.
So Star Trek, okay. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
I got it from my dad, and it has gotten me through a lot. And it has to do with being married. Hubby and I have, he has 3 kids, adult children, and I have 3 adult children. Combined, we have 14 grandkids. The best advice I can give someone is if you're in a relationship, never forget who you're going to grow old with.
Oh, that's so nice.
So hubby comes first,
Yep.
and then and then you know, sugar gliders, grandkids, children. Kind of like around.
I love it.
But hubby's first because
Yeah.
I'm keeping
Oh,
everything else kind of comes and goes. But you know,
they're supposed to be your favorite person.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's good.
So today we highlighted Dawn Stagg. And if you're looking for information or a mentor, please reach out to one of the people. The admins can easily be found. We also have information in the file section. As always, happy gliding, be safe, and have an amazeballs day.